morning, guys. Welcome back to another training video. I'm 12 days out from my second bodybuilding show. Today, we're going to be hitting back, so let's get into it. Okay, guys, we got our first working set here. This is 8 to 12 reps, looking for failure in that rep range, shooting for 12. This is 150 pounds. I'm using straps here, and the idea here is that we're able to take any unnecessary fatigue off of our hands, our biceps, our forearms, and try to get as much of the mechanical tension on our lat. So we're taking off our grip as a limiting factor here so that all of the exercise is going towards our back. 8 to 12 reps. On these dumbbell rows, I try to keep my shoulder blades from coming together as I pull. This takes my upper back out of the movement and focuses totally on the lat. You'll also notice that I'm not pulling past my torso, as the lat cannot contract further than that. A good cue for this is to keep your shoulder down and rounded as you pull. Not bad. I'll take it. Now we gotta do the other side. Another thing I would like to note here is that I do these unilaterally because I'm able to turn my torso into the movement and get a better stretch through my lat. If I was doing these with a strict barbell, I would not be able to turn my torso and I would not be able to stretch my lat as much, leading to probably a diminished amount of mechanical tension on the lat. All right, now we're gonna drop the weight down. I think 125s, 12 to 16 reps. The setup for this second set is largely the same. The main difference here is that I've decreased the weight to 125 pounds and I've increased the rep range to the 12 to 16 rep range. This allows us to keep the intensity the same while training in two different rep ranges. For me, right now, those two rep ranges I'm training in is 8 to 12 and 12 to 16. Now, during a growth phase where I might be training a little bit heavier, I could do 6 to 8 reps on that first set and 8 to 12 on the second. Yeah, that's good. Now, another thing that you may have noticed is that I'm letting my inner Sam Saluk out by training partial reps towards the end of my set. Science shows that the stretch portion of the movement may result in increased hypertrophy, so getting a few extra reps in that extra stretch portion can't really hurt. I've found success with it, so it may be something that you want to implement in your training as well. God knows it works for Sam. It's a good set. Feel good about that. We got single arm lat pull down, 2 sets. First set is 8 to 12, second set is 12 to 16. Again, using straps to take any unnecessary work off of our forearms, hands, and biceps. I like to touch my lat while I do these so I can really get a feeling, roll the shoulders forward. Once again, we are training unilaterally on these pull downs. This allows us to get a better stretch by being able to turn our torso a little bit. I also love the fact that I'm able to touch my lat during this movement and feel it contract. This may be a little bro science-y, but I feel like if I'm touching it and I can feel it contracting, I'm actually, using the muscle versus just kind of throwing the weight around. Again, partial reps as we get towards the end here. I do not think it hurts. I think it only helps. Actually inside the rep range there. Okay, I'm gonna do the other side. Lean back a little bit. Now you hear me say lean back a little bit. I find that it really helps to lean back on these lat pull downs. I feel like I can keep my elbow more in line with my body and contract my lat better, avoid using a ton of my upper back. The more upright I am, the more I tend to use my upper back and my traps to pull the weight instead of my lat. Oh. All right, put the weight down. Second set is 12 to 16. As noted earlier, I have two main working sets for the first two exercises. The first one is 8 to 12 reps. The second one is 12 to 16. Now,
These rep ranges are kind of arbitrary. I recently had a conversation with a friend where we kind of discussed this, like, what do you think the best rep range is? The science is kind of out. So by training in two different rep ranges, you kind of cover all your bases and avoid missing out on any potential gains. I really like training in a higher rep range with a lighter weight for my second set because I feel like it's able to keep the intensity there. You'll see me switch to the other side. Now, these get a little bit sloppier the longer I go on. I don't really care as long as I can feel my lat contracting and I feel like I'm getting a good pump. Do these as you will, but please just keep your shoulder blades not together. Keep the shoulder blades rounded out and pull with that elbow, keeping it nice and tight to your body. Oh, look at those partial reps. I'm such a little cheater.
This is like my favorite lat exercise. It's a single arm cable row. Remember, we're keeping our shoulders rounded. We're not letting those shoulder blades come together. 3 sets, 12 to 16.
These cable rows really are my favorite lat exercise. You're able to almost bend over and really stretch out the lat. Again, I'm doing these unilaterally as I'm able to turn my torso into the movement, get a better stretch. It's all about the stretch. Call me Renaissance periodization. I love the stretch. You'll also notice that I am continuing to do partial reps. I am really a huge fan of partial reps, especially on back movements when you're not able to fully contract, but you're able to get a few more reps out of there.
Time for the other side. I really like that I can like touch my lat, feel it contract.
One very important note with the unilateral training is it can be easy to go less on one side, more on the other. So it's very important that when you're doing unilateral movements, you're making sure that both sides, I had to rearrange my grip, that's fine, but it's very important that both sides are being trained the same intensity, otherwise you might end up with some muscular imbalances. If you find that you have existing muscular imbalances, maybe go a little bit harder on the side that isn't as developed.
Fuck. I think those were similar amounts of reps. I'm not 100% sure. I'm gonna do 2 more sets of that. It's the same thing, so I'm not gonna bore you with it. Next exercise we'll do will be pull-ups. Usually I like to do assisted. I don't have an assisted pull-up machine here, so it'll just be regular pull-ups.
I really enjoy pull-ups as a finisher exercise. I wish they had an assisted pull-up machine here so I could get a few more reps, but it's no big deal. Now, I do not really consider pull-ups to be the best lat exercise. Maybe that's just because of how I do them, but I find that they really work my upper back and my traps a little bit more than my lats. You'll see I'm hanging there for a second just to get a few more reps out, and it's perfectly okay.
Yeah, that's it. I won't bore you with the other sets. 2 more, same rep scheme, 12 to 16, shooting for failure. Let's go do some posing.
All right, we're running through our mandatory poses for classic physique. First up, we have our front relaxed, and then we move into our side relaxed here. I have a little bit of difficulty turning my torso, but these look pretty good. Then we have back relaxed. This is probably my weakest mandatory pose, just because my back is not super developed at this point. Really need to work on those lower lats. Then we move into our second quarter turn. Very nice. I find that this one's a little bit stronger than the first one. We'll move into the front double bicep here. My coach recently told me I need to have my legs further apart. He is 100% right, but otherwise, I think the vacuum here looks absolutely fantastic. Moving to the side chest. Need to drop that back shoulder down a little bit. And then this is surprisingly a stronger pose for me than I was expecting, the rear double bicep. I think this looks really strong, and I'm really excited to portray that at the show.
That was the back workout. meet you back at my place for a post-workout meal.
That was a pretty great back workout. I'm very satisfied. I'll be honest, when I got in there, I was not feeling my best. I had cold sweats, I was shaking, I felt sick, but I just stuck to it for 10, 15 minutes and I started to feel a lot better. So if you're ever in the gym and you just not feel right, you feel a little sick or whatever, just stick with it 10, 15 minutes, see if you feel better, because 9 times out of 10, you will. For our post-workout meal today, looks a little different. We've got 140 grams of rice, 8 ounces of chicken, and plenty of greens. The greens in here right now are going to help fill my stomach up with a lot of volume, a lot of fiber, and help satiate me throughout my day so I'm not super hungry right after finishing this meal. One thing I want to stress about your lat training specifically, and I mentioned this in the video multiple times, try to avoid pulling your shoulder blades together. Instead, I want you to round your shoulders and pull without pulling your shoulder blades together. For years, I thought that I couldn't grow my lats. I thought that I had bad lat genetics until I realized one day, oh, I'm just not training them properly. I'm coming into the gym and I'm doing all of my movements, pulling my shoulder blades together. And it led to me having really overdeveloped upper back and traps. So if you feel like your back isn't growing, specifically your lats, it's probably because you're pulling your shoulder blades together on all of your lat movements. So drop that shoulder down, keep the elbow close to you, and pull with your lat. If you liked the video, go ahead, drop a like, comment, subscribe. If you're interested in implementing this workout for yourself, check the description of the video. The full workout is there. If you're interested in my coaching or training, go ahead, click the link in the description as well, and we can have a one-to-one conversation about your training and where you want to go. See you guys soon.